yeah, I guess I decided to do another one. See if I can make this one a little less boring. The sun's going down, by the way, so it's getting darker. Um, so what am I writing about? Talk about me. I'm writing a book about me. Well, I'm writing diaries. It's really what they equate to. It's just an accumulation of 33 notebooks of all of my thoughts and feelings over the past 2.5 years. Well, no, 2 years, because the first one was started at on June 3rd, 2018, at 8:31 p.m. And I have been going nonstop for the past 2 years. I write close to every day. There was a small chunk of time back in 2018 between November and January 1st, 2019, where I skipped a lot of days. Probably skipped about 3 weeks worth of writing. Because at the time I had a notebook, laptop, and the laptop I was doing most of my writing on, and really a lot of my writing is, like I said, it's feelings and my thoughts, but it's like it's like a place where I write without any boundaries. So I just let my mind go and do and say whatever it wants. It gets a little crazy. It gets really crazy by normal people standards. I can admit that. Talking to demons and gods and ghosts and people and myself. And just letting my mind just fucking go as far as it wants to go. But the crazy thing is that like a lot of the things that I wrote about would happen. Not to a T, but so I'd write my gut feelings about certain things, and then certain things just kind of pop up. It's pretty interesting. It's really interesting to me, only for the fact that it's me. So it's it's a live autobiography of sorts. But just over the past 2 years, I don't really write too much about. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I don't write about things that happen, but that's a lot of what it is. It's a lot of releasing old baggage and old emotions. It's actually really cool, especially going back and reading them. Currently reading on number 8, book number 8, Wakey Wakey Eggs and Bakey. I named them as well. I title them, give them all titles. And what's really neat is typically I title them before I write them. And when I do that, it's not when I do that, because I always do that. I did it from the very start. First one, typically there's a theme that it follows. It's pretty cool. It's very cool, actually. But I also keep track of astrological data and times, numerological data, just to keep track, and I keep track of the lunar cycles as well, and the sun's passage through the zodiac signs. I study esoteric and occult. More than anything else I've ever done in my life. I probably spent about a good 20,000 hours over the past 2.5 years researching and studying all of this stuff. So I'd say I'm pretty well-rounded in it for the amount of time. 2 years, absolutely. I'd say I probably know a lot of this stuff better than most people that have been doing it for decades. Which I'm sure those people would argue, but or maybe I just know it differently. That's probably a more political way of saying it. Well, not that it needs to be politically correct. I mean, would I say that I know it better? Some stuff I absolutely know better than a lot of people. But I just base that on my conversations with people. I don't mind it getting dark. Behind a tree and the lights, well, the sun's gone. So these books, these journals, it's just like a place where I talk all my shit. That's shit talking. Well, some of it's shit talking. That's not even shit talking. Like I said, it's just getting emotional shit out. Shit that doesn't really bear too much significance. I don't like to put my shit on other people. Well, no, I don't. I'm not very talkative in that terms. I don't like complaining. I don't like whining. But that's not that I complain or whine in those things either. Sometimes it's just talking. I've gotten really good at it too. I amassed about 1.5 million words in the course of 2 years. It's an interesting work on the evolution of my mind over the past 2 years. Evolution of my mind and my consciousness and conscious awareness, as well as my emotional awareness as well. I like to believe I'm a very emotionally mature human being because I have spent so much time digging into my emotions and asking myself, how do you feel? How does that make you feel? And exploring my own psychologist, basically. I didn't go to school for it, but I don't think I need to after this. Probably got a better education in the mind than any other psychologist in the world. I studied the one subject that psychology doesn't teach you about. Myself. So how the fuck are you supposed to learn anything about the human mind if you don't know how yours works? People can tell you how it works based on their own studies of other people. It's good to see how other people's minds work, but even still, from that standpoint, you got to think of it like this too: is that I don't give a shit if you're my psychologist or if you're my study buddy. I mean, there's always going to be something that I or you hold back. It's a human factor. I don't know if there's anyone being 100% fully vulnerable, comfortable being 100% fully vulnerable with other people. I used to say it when I read cards for people. You can go to a million therapists, and there's always going to be something that you leave out and don't tell them about because you're just not comfortable talking about certain things. Or you might lie, or you might fudge the truth a little bit because you don't want the real you to be exposed for who you really are, the monster you really are. There's nothing wrong with being a monster. Everyone's a monster in their own ways. It's normal. It's healthy to admit it though, because once you admit it, then your mind breaks down why you really aren't a monster to begin with. A wise man once said, "Balance every thought with its opposition, because the marriage of the two is the destruction of illusion." So in other words, think of those things that like you just can't believe, you won't believe, you don't want to believe, and believe them for a minute. Tell yourself that it's okay to believe them. That, hey, you know what, maybe that is true. So what'll happen is, once you contradict your brain, your mind, once it tastes that contradiction, then it starts to rationalize the two conflicting perspectives and create a brand new perspective, which is really interesting to see happen. It really opens your eyes to possibilities that you weren't always aware of, or not even just aware of, but open to seeing, which in a sense you would say that you're aware of. You can't even see me. That's too bad. But that's not the gist of it. So like a lot of my writing it deals with what I'm going through personally at the time that I'm writing it, and so it gets very raw. It gets very real. I think it's pretty interesting. I've had a couple people who've read excerpts from time to time. Uh, it's not that I got raving reviews, but I have had people tell me that they can relate to some of the things that I've written. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because I don't know what I'm even doing with them, if it's just a project that I'm working on for myself, which in a sense it is, because I do, like I said, I do like to go back and read them, because sometimes there are things that I write that I'm embarrassed about, that I feel shameful about, that there's experiences that I regret in a sense, but then once I read them and analyze them and see what came out of them, it kind of flips the script on them. And technically I'm about a year behind. Like I said, I'm currently reading January 2019, which was 18 months ago. And to see the change, not just in myself, but even in the world and in the people around me that are still in my life from those times, it's really interesting to see how not just I changed, but other people. But even in a sense, I mean, it's not that people really change that frequently, because a lot of the behavior that was going on back then is still going on today. So even with myself, I mean, I still seclude myself from other people and hide my thoughts, guard my thoughts. But I mean, who doesn't? It's very difficult being real with the people that you know. Much easier to be real with people you don't know. I don't know why that is. You're afraid of judgment. Or also there's the fact that typically the people that we know don't appreciate the realness. Not that they don't appreciate it, because I'm sure everybody appreciates it, but you don't get the response you want. So when you don't get the response you want, then you're less likely to repeat that action a second time. So it's not, I don't think it's anyone's fault that my eyes may have just glowed. It's because a notification came up. So it's not like anyone's to blame for anything. It's just life. So right now, what I'm writing about is, I don't know, it's more of my, I've been having these feelings that things are going to change for me drastically, and the way in which I feel that my life is going to change, it has actually been changing and moving in that direction, which is really interesting. How experiences seem to be mirroring my thoughts. It's called synchronicity. Jung called it synchronicity. Carl Jung, psychologist. Now, is it synchronicity, or is it just that things just happen to be going in the same way that I wanted them to, by coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. That's the thing. Is once you get really deep into spirituality and the occult and mysticism and all the woo-woo bullshit that doesn't exist and is all make-believe, life can get weird. Things can take on a perspective that is completely alien to everyone except for you. So that's a shitty part, is when you're the only person that can see a certain perspective on things. And if people could just see that make one little tweak and see things the same way that you can, then it would make all the difference. But maybe that's the point, is trying to survive and thrive in life when you're the only person that can see something. Pain in the ass is really what it is. Spiritual awakening crap is way overrated. It's not overrated. It's not true. I don't want to say that. Was spiritual awakening? Oh, fuck. I really should have been paying attention to the video that I didn't save. It's this phenomena that's going on right now. It's hard to explain. It's not even that hard to explain. That's what I said in the last video. But imagine for a minute that everything that you think you know about reality isn't real. That there's a lot more going on. That God, the devil, angels, demons, the universe, gods who eat gods, and gods who, well, demons who make believe that they're gods, all actually exist. Ghosts, otherworldly entities, aliens. Make believe it all is real. That is the culmination of a spiritual awakening, is your eyes opening up to the invisible realm of reality. That there may actually be a guiding force that is influencing the events all over the world, all over the solar system, all over the galaxy, and all over the universe. And it has some kind of intelligence, and it tries to get your attention. Signs and synchronicities. That's what we call them. It's like when you think of somebody and they call, or you want to do something very specific, and then the opportunity to do that thing that you wanted to do just pops up out of nowhere. Or if you say, universe, send me a sign. God, send me a sign. Satan, send me a sign. And then the sign shows up. Typically, we'll chalk that off as a coincidence and ignore it, but it's actually real. Well, I mean, you don't have to believe it's real. I believe it's real. Well, I also spend my life studying this shit. It's not shit. I spend my life studying these phenomena in my own particular life to kind of see what it's all leading to. And it's actually leading me somewhere, which is the most interesting part about it, is that I've been following the signs and synchronicities for 2 years, and I'm in a position at this point in my life where I can honestly say, holy crap, this is all real. It's 100% real, at least for me. I can't say it's real for anybody else because I don't live anybody else's life, but nobody else lives mine, so nobody can tell me that it's not real. Yeah, you know, there's an emotional attachment, but I spend a good deal of my time trying to burn off all of that emotional energy so that I can look at things from an objective standpoint and go, holy shit, that really happened. And that's a good thing about all my writing, because when I look back on my diaries and my entries, I essentially relive those experiences in my mind, and I remember them. And luckily from doing this for such a long time, I've gotten really good at, well, it's not that I was never good at remembering things, I was very good at remembering things. I've just gotten a lot better at it. And this helps, because it gives me an opportunity to look back on aspects of my life that I would normally have overlooked, or could have been, or something that could easily be forgotten because of other happenings. But since I put my all into this all the time, it's really dark. Documenting and studying my life is my job. It's the most important job I've ever had. Only for the fact that I need to know who the hell I am. What the hell's going on in my life? Who doesn't want to know that? Right? I mean, everybody's looking for a purpose and a reason for why they do what they do, and unfortunately it took me 2 years to figure it out. I still don't even have it figured out. because there's so many conflicting ideas of how things could go and where things could go. Even right now, I mean, all signs are pointing in one direction, but that doesn't mean that's exactly where things are going to go. That could just be fucking universe fucking with me, life fucking with me, which happens. It's not just because there's a all-knowing, all-seeing force that is guiding every single one of us doesn't mean that it's not fucking with you. It fucks with you, that's fucking sure. I've been fucked with a lot. Usually for good reason, though. I mean, there's usually a positive outcome of some sort. Start to realize, oh, well, you know what? I didn't really need that in my life. That's great. That's fantastic. Spent all this time working on something, and it didn't really need to be there in the first place. I wonder that with my writing sometimes. I'm going to get to a point where I'm just going to go, you know, I didn't even need to do this. I already got everything in my head, so I already know what I believe is real, and the only way for me to not believe that what I believe is real anymore is for me to see any contradicting evidence that is convincing enough for me to go, oh, well, you know what, these past 2 years, that was all in my head, which I used to think a lot, but the more that I used to think that everything was in my head, the more that things would happen to prove to me that it wasn't in my head. So, kind of got that going on too. Which is a pain in the ass to balance all that stuff. I mean, sometimes you feel like you're going crazy. And essentially you are. You're losing your mind. You're losing the aspects of your mind that are holding you back from doing certain things. But they're things that you wouldn't normally do that are scary. That when you do them, it's actually good for your own personal growth. Because you look back and go, holy shit, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. Shit, I did that. And it's not a bad thing. It's not. I'm gonna start walking. It's not a bad thing to regret. Like I was saying before, regret's good because you can look back on those regrets and see how things have evolved from there. Oh, I regret getting married. I regret all that. I regret having a house. Well, no, I don't. At one time, yeah, I regretted all that shit, but over time, learning to appreciate what we call regret, I'm able to see how not only have those experiences helped me grow, but how if I ever find myself in those positions again, I can go, oh, well, you know what, that's a different way to appreciate them than the last time, because we didn't really appreciate them properly. Or appreciated them. See, now that's the thing. It's not that if I were in the same situation that I'd be able to appreciate them properly. It's not to say that I didn't appreciate them properly the first time around. It's that appreciate them differently. Because everything was appreciated exactly the way that it needed to be, that I could have appreciated it based on the events of my life up until those points. And the point, and that's what I'm saying about regret and growth and evolving, is that you can look back on those things and start to realize that whatever it is that you regret, there's no reason to regret it because everything happened exactly the way that it was supposed to happen. Because at the time that this regretful action took place, you did exactly what you could have done, all you could have done, because there was nothing more that you could have done because you didn't know that there was more that you could have done. I mean, yeah, you know that there was more that you could have done, but you didn't have it in you to do those things, which is why you didn't do it. And if you had it in you, then you would have done it. But unfortunately, at the time, you weren't ready to do it. Probably because that experience wasn't the experience that you were supposed to be having. That's one way of looking at it. Another is just lazy, which is an equally valid outlook on an experience. But that's up to you how you want to look at it. I mean, you can look at it as bad, or you can look at it as good, or look at it as, oh, look how I've grown since then, or I haven't grown since then. Fireworks. Firecrackers? I actually saw fireworks last week, 4th of July. First time I appreciated them in a really long time. But I also had good company, so plus I was high. I'd smoked pot. Smoked pot that day. So regret. Okay, regret everything. It's good to regret it, but then also at the same time, be happy about it. Like I said, balance your thoughts. Balance thoughts with the opposition. And you can feel bad about something, but also feel good about it. Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm glad I did that. I needed that. That's right, I did. Regret saying something mean to somebody? Ah, fuck that. Feel good about it. They deserved it. Then you can also regret it at the same time. You're balancing your thoughts. Man, I wish I didn't say that. I'm glad I said that. Why? Chances are they probably needed to hear it. I regret doing that. I'm glad I did that. Why? Because I got something out of it. Got something really good out of it at the time. At the time, it was something good, and then it turned into something bad. So it's a good thing that I got out of the situation or did whatever it was that I did. It's a good way of looking at it. I didn't even think about that before. I'm gonna have to go back to all my books and start looking at things differently. I'm glad I did that. Glad I said that. Glad I wrote that. Glad I felt that way. Glad I felt like shit. Why? I don't have to feel like shit anymore. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing about feeling like shit about something, is because when you allow yourself to fully feel like shit about something, then you don't have to feel like shit about it again. Because why would you? Because if you properly allowed yourself to feel like shit about something, then I turn around a lot. I like to see what's coming up behind me. When you feel like shit about something fully, really embrace the shitty feeling, then you normally, I mean, I don't want to say normally, but you can kind of flip the script a little bit when you burn off all that emotion from feeling like shit over something. Burn out all that emotion, get it all out of you, then you can kind of take a step back and look at a situation from an objective standpoint. And when you look at something from an objective standpoint, then you can see the positive aspects of it as well. Or even the negative. Even look at the good stuff in a bad way. That's a good idea. That's something I haven't even thought of before. Take any good experience of your life and think about the shitty stuff on it. Really, really feel happy about it, so that you can look back and go, fuck, that sucked. It really did suck. I only thought it was good because I was making myself feel better. So I was trying to overcompensate for something. But what did I really gain out of that? Oh, the experience itself. Oh, that's fucking great. But what did you actually get out of it? Got to do something I wanted to do. Okay, fair enough. But then you can say, like, what are you doing? You're doing all this time thinking when you're actually doing stuff. Well, that's the point. Is you're thinking about the stuff that you did. You do stuff in between. You don't just sit there all day. I mean, how much stuff you're supposed to do? I don't know. That's a good question. Like, at what point are you spending too much time thinking and not enough time doing? But then, what's too much doing? So much doing is when you're not doing any thinking. Which people do. But it's also probably not a bad thing to do all the time, because then you have so much stuff to think about when you run out of shit to do. try to keep it balanced, thinking and doing. But I don't know if you can flip that, doing and thinking, thinking and doing. I don't know if that works like that. I don't know. This is 30 minutes, so this is gonna stop any second. My phone's gonna die. I want to listen to music again. So yeah, regret some stuff. Regret. Do it. Go and regret all the stuff. Even the good stuff. It'll be worth it.